Can you tell us who you are and when and where you were born?
Hey, Jim Labow. I was born in Pembroke, in the Pembroke Hospital, but my parents lived in Beachburg in 1955.
Okay. And you were a member of Renfrew County?
Renfrew County, yeah.
Okay.
In the North Renfrew Club.
What years were you a member of Junior Farmers?
Would have been, I guess, 70, probably about 78 through 84. I guess
Okay.
I finished in the spring of 85.
And how did you first get involved in Junior Farmers?
Just some people I knew from high school were members, and they asked me to come out to a meeting and sort of get involved. They were members themselves at that point.
And how many clubs were there in Renfrew?
At one time there were three, North Renfrew, South Renfrew, and a Cobden Club.
Okay. And how many members were there in Renfrew during your time?
Probably about 40 or so altogether in the three clubs at one time.
And what sort of activities did you guys do in your clubs?
Well, we went to we had monthly meetings, so to speak, and we had different things did at the meetings. We went to broomball tournaments and the winter games and the summer games and things like that.
What sort of community activities were you involved with in Renfrew?
That's a good question. It's been quite a while. They helped out at different fairs and different community betterment projects. I can't remember what some of them were now. I know at one time we helped sort of rejuvenate the Westmeath Lookout.
What was Renfrew Junior Farmers known for?
Oh, probably the Funny Valley accent. That was one thing, but no, in particular, I'm not sure that there's one thing we were well known for. We did play broomball well. We did fairly well at that.
How did you end up becoming provincial director for Renfrew?
Well, actually, I was named as an alternate one year, and I ended up going to a couple of meetings because the provincial director couldn't attend, and then nobody else seemed interested, so I just sort of took it over. And then when he didn't want to continue as provincial director, so I took it on.
And which year was that?
That was probably about 1980, or between 79 and 80, I says probably.
Okay. And what sort of things did you discuss at the board level?
Different things. So one of the things we did at board level was contract with a lady to write our history book. And that took a lot of discussion. I was actually chair of the committee that was involved in selling and distributing the book. So that was a big project.
Who were the different presidents that you served with?
Meredith Brophy was one. Jim Wirt. We actually asked Jim to be godfather for our son. Stuart Budd was the president in my last year. It was Dan Callahan. No, not Dan. Callahan.
Tom Callahan?
Tom Callahan was president, I guess, probably my first year as provincial director.
Can you talk about...
Doug Peart was another one.
Can you talk about each of them and what kind of presidents they were?
Oh. Well, I'm not really sure how to. What do you?
What did they bring? What kind of to the table? What kind of personalities did they have? How are they different from one another in being leaders?
Okay, well, Meredith was very organized. Probably a hands-on president. You know, try to get everything organized. She's since gone on to be president of her fair board and things like that down in the Metcalfe area. Doug was sort of no nonsense. Didn't really joke around a lot. Tom Callahan was quite a joker at times.
Who was the provincial government staff member that was overseeing junior farmers at the time?
We had a couple different ones. Jan Horner was one, and trying to think of his name. He was from the St. Mary's area. Was another one.
That's okay. I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Mrs. Horner. What was her role in helping junior farmers?
Well, sort of like a big sister to a lot of people. She had a fairly extensive 4-H background, so she was a good fit with a lot of the members. She could joke around with the best of them, but she still was able to sort of keep a finger down on, make sure things didn't get too out of control, and make sure that we didn't get some too strange ideas. But yeah, she was a very, very nice lady as well.
What were some of the more, you already talked about the history book, what were some of the other more interesting things that happened during your time on the provincial board at the provincial level?
Just trying to think. I can't think of just off the top of my head. I should have been a bit better prepared, but.
Sorry. What challenges were there for junior farmers? What challenges did they face while you were on the board?
Distances, I guess. Traveling. A lot of, especially the younger ones, didn't have vehicles or didn't have access to a vehicle, so we had to sort of carpool a lot. Finances, of course, being young, a lot of us didn't have much, so we pooled together that way as well. Those were the two big ones, and then just trying to keep people interested. Same as, I guess, as what maybe started the decline of junior farmers. I guess was just pull of other activities. Not as many people in a rural area.
So that was strongly noticed then, that the membership was declining and the people were returning?
Yeah, it was starting to even then. I finished in '85, so even that's almost 30 years ago. So
was there any focus done on how to adapt to this or reverse this?
No, we tried to, and they probably have tried over the years since then too, to help out 4-H members and try to bring them along when they got up into the senior levels of 4-H and age level for junior farmers, to try to get them involved in junior farmers.
What do you feel was something that you greatly contributed to with junior farmers?
I guess maybe selling the history book was probably the biggest contribution, and just sort of representing the county. And I was on the provincial executive for a couple of years as well, as zone director for Eastern Ontario.
Now that's something that they don't do anymore. Can you explain how you get on executive by zone? How that used to happen?
Yeah, the province was divided into. I forget how many zones. We were the 7. Yeah, I think so. We were in. There was about 10 or 11 counties in Eastern Ontario, from Renfrew down to Cornwall, and we met. our meeting place was usually at in Kempville. It was sort of the most central area. We used Kempville College a lot for different activities, but we quite frequently met there because it was, you know, for the entire zone. It was, so I tried to get out to, and now I didn't make it to all of the counties. You know, I tried to get out to a lot of them, but you do, you know, meet a lot of the people from within your zone more often than you meet people from the rest of the province. So.
And how did one in that time go from get on the executive as per the zone? How did that work?
I guess the provincial directors from within the zone sort of let it be known whether they were interested in going ahead to be on the executive.
So there's one person for every zone, and that made up the executive?
Yeah, and there was a president and a vice president, I guess, elected at large too from at March conference. Usually it was a provincial director, so if that provincial director got elected president, then somebody else sort of looked after the county end of it, you know, because there was a lot more travel involved with that.
To be the zone member that became on the executive, was that decided within the zone, or was that decided at March conference?
No, that was decided within the zone.
So you came to March conference knowing who was going to be on the executive?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. And the executive then met more frequently than the full body of the provincial directors. So.
How many times a year would they meet?
Probably 3 or 4. Usually we tied them to different events that were happening, like Sing Swing. We'd meet the day ahead, kind of thing, you know, or the winter games, summer or winter. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that leads to the next question. Can you talk about each of the provincial events that were on when you were on the board and what was involved with them?
Okay, well, there was the winter and summer games, and usually the different areas had their own winter games to decide who went ahead to the provincial games. So that was winter and summer. We had another event usually in the fall called Sing Swing, and it was different competitions of singing and square dancing and things like that. Then it moved around the province. Different areas like to host that at different times, and they had them, well, basically right across the province. I think the last one I attended was in Windsor, in the Windsor area. I'm just trying to think, and it was the March conference was the big conference held every year, and leadership camp was held in August.
Okay. Can you talk a bit about leadership camp then?
That was a really good experience. You met, you know, people from all across the province. There's probably, I'm trying to think, to make probably like 100 kids at this camp. It was held at Bark Lake down near Bancroft area, and it was a very good learning experience.
You said it was held in August?
I think it was August.
Okay. How long was it?
A week.
A week. Okay. And what sort of activities were involved?
Well, it was, of course, sporting activities, but there was also like fun stuff like you know, drama presentations and learning things. With a lot of what did they call it? Just learning how to make meetings fun, and then things about meetings too. Like, you know, parliamentary procedure was very good. Junior Farmers was very good at that time for having a requirement for all clubs to have at least one meeting a year on parliamentary procedure.
How are you divided up in the groups at leadership camp?
Oh, we're in different clans, I guess it was, and we all wore a different color headband.
And did you have to act Scottish or?
No, not really. I can't remember what the names of the clans were, to tell you the truth. That was I went in 1980 is the year I went.
And did you have anything to do with any of the exchanges?
No, I didn't host any and didn't go on any, but we did host a few different exchanges in Renfrew County. One chap in particular was quite comical from Northern Ireland. We ended up as a group from within Renfrew County. When he was here, we all went whitewater rafting with him. It was sort of a big day.
Was there anyone you met in Junior Farmers that has become a big part of your life?
Yeah, I guess supposedly my wife. She was boarding at a place in Renfrew, and my sister knew the other people that lived there, and they invited her out to a junior farmer dance, and I went and we met, and so then we started dating. Actually, our first date was at our annual banquet. She didn't know until after she said yes that she was going to be sitting at the head table.
Can you talk about some of the more wild or diverse experiences you've had as a junior farmer member?
I guess probably the wildest one was the whitewater rafting episode, and then after 1 year at it was at a meeting, I think one of our provincial meetings, and I stepped off a raised dais crooked and landed and sprained my ankle when we were at this meeting, and I had to the fellow that I had driven to the meeting, and the other fellow that was driving with me didn't drive standard, so I had to drive all the way home with a sprained ankle. So that wasn't fun. It was snowed on the way home too.
How much did membership cost to be a junior farmer?
Jeez, it wasn't a lot. It was maybe $5 or $10. It probably went up as time went on, but I think it was probably in that neighborhood. It wasn't that expensive.
How many members roughly were there in the province when you were on the board?
Oh, there were probably several thousand at one point, because I remember Middlesex County had probably 200 or 300 just by itself.
And they were the largest club?
They were one of the largest clubs, yeah.
Okay. What do you want people to remember about you, of your tenure on the board?
Well, I hoped I sort of was sort of level-headed on some of the decisions that we made, and that's about it, I guess.
Okay. How did junior farmers change you as a person?
Well, it sort of planted the seed, I suppose, for other events. Sort of prepared me for what I got into. I've been a municipal councillor for over 20 years now, so it was good preparation for that. Parliamentary procedure was one, and meeting organization and meeting agendas and things like that. It was good education.
In your opinion, what is the importance of having junior farmers in Ontario?
Well, it's a good outlet for our young people. It sort of helps them get an idea of what a service club is like, because that's a lot of what we did in our community betterment projects were similar to what service clubs do, like the Lions and Kiwanis and things like that. It's just a different group of people. The challenges, I guess, maybe was the age group. Was running from 15 up to 30. Of course, you've got kids that are too young to drink but want to, you know, it's some of the events got a little dicey because of that.
What have you done with yourself since leaving Junior Farmers?
Well, I was a pharmacist when I was a member, and I've since worked in that field. I've owned my own store now for 15 years, a little over 15 years. I've been on municipal council for over 20, and I've been mayor for the last 2.
What was the relationship between the provincial government and Junior Farmers when you were on the board?
Excuse me. The ministry did a lot of things in the background that a lot of people didn't. Sort of like they gave us office space for one thing. You know, I guess maybe some of our insurance went through the ministry. Certainly the advisors that was part of the ministry staff responsibilities. So we depended on them, but they still didn't really put their thumb down and say, you know, you can't do this or can't do that. But I think they used it as helping to train, an avenue to help train leaders, which is what Junior Farmers did a lot.
So they were really supportive.
Yep, very much, yeah.
If you could say something to a junior farmer today, what would you tell them?
Just to get involved. It helps helps develop a sense of community, helps your community develop and stay healthy. Just to be involved, and not sit back and wait for somebody to do something for you.
Is there any other interesting stories that I haven't pulled out of you that you'd like to pass on?
No, Hal Thompson. That was the other ministry, the other alternative Jan Horner, not supervisor, but
Secretary Treasurer.
Secretary Treasurer. Yeah, that was his name. It's sort of disjointed. No, I can't think of too many.
Okay. Is there anything I've forgotten to ask that I should have asked?
No, I think that's probably pretty good.
Okay.
Unless you, yeah, that's pretty well everything on your list of possibilities. So I don't know what those answers will, if they're any good to you, but
No, thank you.